From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
and Corey Clark.
Something has changed inside you. Something has changed.
Wake up! What up, everybody? It is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's. I'm Aslan. He is Corey. We work for Warchant.com. Use that promo code FSU New Era. Era. Yeah? Yeah. Era.
Era. I say era. I guess it's era.
It's a promo code. It gets you 50% off an annual membership to Warchant.com. If you're a student, though, you can top that by emailing us from your student email address, support@warchant.com. Email support@warchant.com from your FSU student email. You'll get a promo code for $12 for an entire year of access to Corey's work, Ira's work, Gene Williams' work. He's on top of this coaching search stuff. Some nuggets perhaps we can share with you. As we record this on Monday evening, Michael Langston's recruiting as well. Never going to undersell that. Big, important thing. And as always, we are sponsored by the good folks at Zaxby's. Our over-under winners have been posted on the Tribal Council per usual. Mac G. Cure and Benzos. They went 5-6. They're the two top folks get the shirt. They get our faces on it. And they actually did respond to me, so I appreciate that. As well as Prowler Knoll, Honey Fried, Pickens, and Dunla 402 rounding out the top 5.
So they all get shirts or just the top two?
Just top 2 get shirts.
Okay.
But what I've done now is I've also thrown in some vouchers for a Zalid as well as chicken fingers to the folks who won the T-shirts as well.
Nice. And at the end of the year, I don't know if you've announced this yet or not, but we take all the winners from each of the 12 weeks. The people that got shirts, we put their names in a hat. Whoever wins gets to spend a week with you.
I thought it was they were going to come to the bowl game with us.
No, it's going to be a week in your house.
Okay. Midtown offices.
It's going to be a week in your house. You've got a guest room.
I do.
Slash
office.
You're going to have to buy your own food.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Zaxby's will provide it.
I guess, that's right. Zaxby's will provide the food.
By the way, Bo Knowles, he won last week. He wanted to know what Zalid to recommend. You're still Cobb guy.
Oh, it's always Cobb. You can go fried chicken. I go grilled, although I miss the fried chicken, man. It's so good. But I try to go grilled when I can. But, yeah, I just like egg on my salad. I don't know why.
Extra egg like the one guy?
No, but I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to. Okay. Absolutely.
Okay. All right, we spoke to Odell Haggins.
Haggins.
Yeah. I want to say Haggins so bad, like
Probably
Haggins.
spelled Haggins, I guess, but I've always said Haggins. That's how it was pronounced 30 years ago.
By the way, somebody also said that it is jibe, not jive.
It should be jive. It should be jive with the V.
I think his name was actually Florida Cracker.
Okay, and he knew it was jive and not jive. Okay.
Also, Reload 87, I think his name was, said that you can love your job but still complain about having to go to Shreveport.
Good. All right. Well, good. I'm glad I got the permission there because I don't know if they really didn't like the what I wrote 2 years ago when we were there. For the people that don't know, which I assume is not the vast majority of you, but there's plenty of people that don't know. I wrote a column the day really that Florida State arrived in Shreveport, just basically saying like never again. Like this is what a bad season gets you is this bowl. Mm-hmm. And, that stadium, which is decrepit and old, that city, which I'm sure there are very fine people in that city. I would never besmirch the good Shreveportians of the world. But the city is a little bit old. It was dank and cold. And it's essentially, from what I could tell, the main part of the city is just kind of small, smoky casinos with a Hustler Club right there in the middle. It's just not – and I wrote it in the context of the last 4 years. The last 5 years had been Miami, L.A., Miami, Atlanta, were the bowls that they had been to. Right. All New Year's Day bowls. And then that bowl was just like a slap in the face of this is what middle tier college football
We're a purple show.
Programs.
Not blue or red. We're purple.
Exactly right.
Middle America.
But that's a middle tier bowl game. You do not want to be back in Shreveport again. Not knowing that the very next year they take me up on that offer, just not go to a bowl at all.
Yeah, never again. We're not going to go
all
to
right,
a bowl.
Fine. Guess you don't want to go to Shreveport again.
Reload 87's from Baton Rouge. Apparently, I know he lives in Baton Rouge. That's what his location says. He's in Baton Rouge. So he said, you can love your job and still complain about going to Shreveport.
Okay, good.
I want to complain about the fact that we're not going to be able to talk to anybody the rest of the week. Odell on Monday was our only media availability for the week, so we will try to extend that as much as we possibly can in terms of content for you folks. But also we realize you do have your eyes on the prize, which is head football coach. The one nugget that Gene did put out there is that, the Bob Stoops sort of thing remains option A, top billing, if you will. If that doesn't come to fruition by the end of the week, probably next week they'll move on to other candidates.
Either probably Dion.
And it makes correct. And it makes sense, right? I would imagine that towards the end of last week, final sort of compensation proposal, whatever job offer kind of thing was extended in terms of here's what we're willing to give you. Let us know what you think about this, that, and the other. And he's had a whole weekend to think about it, and then I'm sure there might be some follow-ups here. Midweek, and then kind of a final decision. I assume would probably be made towards the end of this week.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not like he either wants to do it or he doesn't. This isn't like I don't know if I can leave all my kids. I've been like it's not like he's in Oklahoma thinking about leaving the kids he recruited and said he was going to be there. He's out of a job. He doesn't have a job, so either he wants to get into college coaching again or he doesn't.
XFL head football coach.
Again, sure. But those leagues never work. It's not going to work. It's another minor league football season that just won't work. It won't be as popular as college football. I can promise you that, and he ain't going to get paid as much. Mm-hmm. So, so at this point, if we think negotiations have been going on now or negotiations in quotes, but 8 or 9 days, what's the holdup? Like I'm talking about if we fast forward a week, so now we're 16 days in.
Okay.
What's the holdup? You either want to do it or you don't, and we can't sit here saying I'm speaking as like Coburn and Thrasher.
Right.
We can't sit here and wait until Christmas for you to just tell us, oh, never mind, I don't want to do this. Like
Arkansas just opened up. We got to be quick about this.
Yeah, man, we got to beat the Hogs. So I think by the end of this weekend, if it hasn't happened, it's like okay, well that's your answer. That's your answer.
Well,
either he wants to do it or he doesn't. And if he's not excited about it, I know he's got to get all his ducks in a row. Try to get everything. If he wants to do the job, he has to. It's a big life decision, but it's not something that would take 2 or 3 weeks. I don't think.
Oh no, for sure. But I do think it would take a good week. Like it would take a good weekend to think it over. Look at not the first draft, but kind of look at it and be like, all right, this is what you're going to offer me in terms of years, guaranteed money. Commitment to building this, that, and the other.
Yeah, he's also got a brother that worked here for 3 years.
Yeah,
so his brother kind of has some of the inner workings of how this school works. He can lean on that a little bit too.
I was trying to think about. So I have a brother, and if we both maybe worked in this industry, and say I'd obviously interned for Warchant back in the day, and this job comes open in 2017, and Ira reaches out to me, but then he also reaches out to my brother. And, like, if my brother took the job, like, what that would do to me. Like, because Mark Stoops wants this job. Mark Stoops would rather have this job in Kentucky. I do, and I'm not saying that Mark and then, like, the family dynamic's going to crush it, but there has to be some sort of weird kind of balance there of asking Mark's thoughts about it, but then also not kind of rubbing it in, like, hey, man, like, they want me, not you.
Right.
What do you think I should do kind of a thing?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, he might feel like – because, I mean, obviously Bob has accomplished much more than Mark. Yeah. He won a national championship, won all the bowl games. So I wonder if there is a little bit of, like, brotherly love in the sense that I don't want to – man, do I really want to take this job that I know – but the thing is, Mark's probably not going – I don't even know if he's a candidate really. Right. So are you really taking it from him?
Yeah.
I get that Mark would want it, but Mark wanted the Oklahoma job in 1999 too. He didn't get that. I mean, that's – maybe Mark wants to coach the Dallas Pioneers.
Renegades.
Golly, is it really the Renegades?
Yeah.
It's not the Outlaws?
No.
Okay. So you can't really worry about that. But, yeah, maybe as far as calling Mark and asking for advice, that might be a little bit too much of a stick into the craw. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I think when it comes to Bob, he hasn't said no yet,
right?
Which is, a good sign until a point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then if you haven't said no, but you haven't said yes either, well, that's a no.
Right.
If you haven't said yes at a certain point, that's basically a no. So, I would think the next week is when because you can't, there's no point in doing what you did to then still fall behind other schools that fire their coaches later than you do. Mm-hmm. You do have a leg up still. You did beat you. You are leading this race. You'd like to take advantage of it and get somebody in here before the end of the month.
I still think that ultimately Florida State offers the best opportunity. So even if this thing
Sure.
does drag out, but to your point, and it's not like something specifically with Bob Stoops of like, hey, man, we'll give you all the time in the world. But there obviously is a time when you realize, hey, man, you don't want this. We get it. We'll move on.
That's the
but
stuff.
this is fair, right? Like,
Sure.
I'm not panicked. I don't think he needs to blank or get off the pot right now. I totally get it with him probably.
But if
having the whole
it's
week.
November 21st
Oh, yeah.
and 22nd and still no word at all,
Yeah,
it's still
no.
crickets.
No. I mean, I think by the end of this week, I think in the next 5 days, you would know. Because the offer has been extended.
Coburn and Thrasher would know one way or the other.
Yes.
This is going down the right path, or we need to cut bait and go to
like, hey,
go
counter offer. All right, this is Stoops' counter offer. He wants to be AD in waiting or whatever, sort of additional perk he wants. Can we do that? Yes. And then you go back and offer to him. And then at that point, I think it's like, hey, you got 24 hours, yes or no. Like, you give us your counter offer. We'll look it over. Okay, we're cool with that. Here it is. We're cool with it. Now let us know. 24 hours. We got to go.
That was the thing with the Dion stuff that, to me, like, obviously I didn't take it seriously, but it was insulting to me as somebody that grew up with Florida State football, that knows how relevant Florida State football still is on the national scene, that all these national guys, and I say all these, it's basically people from the NFL network, but saying, oh, yeah, Florida State should definitely hire Dion. Absolutely they should hire Dion. Come on, man. This is Florida State. Yeah. You don't just it's easy for you to say Florida State should hire Dion because you have no skin in the game. You don't care. There's a lot of people that are really invested in this program that have been cheering it for 40 years that don't think it should be a vanity project for a Hall of Fame player. Like, go prove that you want to be a coach, Dion. Go do what Terrell Buckley is doing, Dion, or Odell Hagens has done for 30 years. You don't just get to be on TV for 15 years and say that the school that I haven't really been a part of for the last 3 decades, I'll dip my toe in the water every now and again, but I don't really hang out at Florida State. Now, because the job's open, I want to be the head coach. Meanwhile, my former roommate, the guy that I love, quote unquote, he would, he might be the head coach, but you think you do a better job than the guy that's been here for 30 years. I don't know. But also the fact that people are giving it like credibility. Like, yeah, man, sure, let Dion do it. No, that's not how this works. This program is too good. Miami's not going to hire Michael Urban.
Or Warren Sapp.
Texas A&M isn't going to hire Johnny Manziel. And Florida State's not going to hire Dion just because Dion wants the job. It's like the people don't understand. I thought it was a good counter when Rich Eisen said whatever he said on Twitter about Dion would do a great job, period. And then Ira's like, yeah, I can't wait for you to promote Desmond Howard, because Eisen's a Michigan guy.
Yeah.
Desmond Howard for the Michigan job when Harbaugh leaves. Because, yeah, it's easy for you to say you have no idea if Dion would be a good head coach. Why? Because he's good at TV?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. What does that even mean? How would you even think that? But also, he doesn't care. Rich Eisen doesn't care. Ian Rappaport doesn't care. The people that think it would be a really good hire, or interesting hire.
It would be amusing. It would be entertaining to them.
Right. But there are people down here on the ground
right.
that are really invested in this program and want it to succeed and don't want it to be, like I said, a vanity project for a guy to see if he wants to be a coach and a football coach or not. Anyway, that was why I thought it was amusing, and the fact that it became a story and that he emerges as a candidate. Yeah, he emerged as a candidate because he told a guy at the NFL Network he wanted to be a candidate. But yeah, to me it was amusing, but then also on that token I thought it was a little insulting. Like, man, this isn't Carroll City High School, and this isn't even Georgia Tech.
North Fort Myers.
Or Fort Myers. Well, I know he didn't go there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's it's not a high school. It's not Leon High School, man. This is Florida State. It's one of the 12 or 14 best jobs in the country. You don't just hand it to a dude because he says, hey, I got a gold jacket. Let me come coach. Why not Derek Brooks then? He's around the program more. He's on the sideline every week. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
And then an additional nugget, we'll do a little tease, won't give it all away, but another bowl game has sort of emerged as a possibility for Florida State, and it's one that's...
Is it better than Shreveport or worse?
I would say it's better, and it's
okay.
It's after the new year.
It's eye of the beholder, though, right?
No, I think everybody
would agree
other than somebody who lives in Shreveport and wants to be able to watch their Noles and only drive 10 minutes from home. I think everybody else would be like, all right, cool, I'm cool with that. Let's do it.
Okay, all right.
So that's also there. All that, again, over on warchant.com. Use the promo code FSU New Era, 50% off an annual membership. Corey, I saw somebody tweet this in a reply to Odell's press conference. on Monday. I mean, first off, was there anything that you found interesting? It just I mean, it's hard to not sit there and smile just listening to him kind of talk with his passion and enthusiasm.
I thought what he said about getting the coordinators together.
Coach, what were some of the things you tried to maybe change in the approach, whether it was practice or managing the game, you think that kind of made the difference for you guys on Saturday and will do so moving forward?
Well, we had a plan together. The offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and the special team coordinator. I said to them Monday, on Thursday, we're all going to sit down for a full hour and communicate with each other and find out how we're going to attack this game. So Coach Barnett, Coach Browse, and Coach Snyder and myself, we sat in that room for an hour and discussed it. Things like that, communication, timeouts, different situations. And a lot of the situations didn't come up that we talked about, but we was ready for it, I tell you that.
He said he had Kendall talk to Barnett about what he was thinking about doing offensively. I assume Barnett did the same thing, vice versa. I just thought that was interesting. That's a good idea in what it does, because the question that solicited that answer was, what changes did you ask that question? I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
Thanks, man.
Hey, man, you brought your game. I liked the last answer you got on the last question, too, about what he does when he watches offense. I thought those were both interesting.
Thanks, man.
So you did it. You did it.
Finally.
But the question that solicited that answer was, what differences did you make during the week? Or something like that, right? Isn't that how you asked it?
Yeah.
Essentially, what differences were there in this week in the game plan than in previous weeks? And he said that on Thursday the coordinators got together and discussed every possible game situation scenario and how they would address it, what their decisions would be as a group. I thought that was really interesting. That was a good idea. And it reminded me, but it when people talk about maybe what Willie's failings were, and I don't know, I don't even know if it was a failing, but it's refreshing. What Odell is really good at, in my mind, is he knows what he doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really that's a really admirable trait, because it's such an ego-driven profession, and people just in life have ego, and so it's really refreshing for somebody to but understand that I don't know everything. I know what I don't know. I don't know what we should call on 4th and 1 at the 43-yard line if Kendall has a great play. I don't know who should play quarterback. The guy that gets paid $1 million knows better than I do. And so I just thought that was a really interesting answer he had.
And it's so weird, and this kind of actually segues pretty nicely to something else I kind of want to talk about that a lot of people were tweeting at us about and such. But, the reason I asked him that question in that way was I want to know there has to be something that he did differently, whether it's approach, not even game management, just approach, maybe the way they practiced or something. So I really hope that when he gave us that answer, that was something that they had not been doing.
It sounded like it, right? Because that was the question. It was like, what differences are there? And that's the first thing he brought up. So I would think.
That, to me, seems like one of the more just standard kind of things that would occur in a coach's office. Like, all right, one day a week, like Thursday before we get ready to leave town, head coach, coordinators, offense, defense, special teams, let's all break bread for an hour and kind of just go over what the game plan is going to be, what you're going to do, what do you think? I mean, so, again, if they weren't doing that a little bit.
But I wonder if it does happen a lot. I don't know what the hit rate is on something like that. I don't know that Jimbo was meeting with Kelly. Jimbo was his own offensive coordinator, right. And saying this is what I'm planning on doing. What are you going to do to help me with that? I don't know. He might, but when I heard it, I'm like, man, that's a really good idea, and it comes from a place of completely egoless, that it's not my way or the highway. We're in this together. Help me out. You guys get paid a lot of money. You're theoretically good at your jobs, so help me out and help us together try to win this game. I thought it was good. And he talked about communication a lot with the players, but also that's a really big deal too for coaches to communicate. I don't know that Willie wasn't doing that. It sure seemed like he wasn't, but I don't know that. I'm sure Dabo does, but I don't know that other head coaches around I don't know if Kirby Smart has his defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator on Thursday come up with a game plan of this is what we're going to do on go over every single scenario over an hour and what we're going to do. So I don't know.
And yeah, that's the thing. He was talking about, they prepared for everything. Now, not everything happened in that game, but he felt that they were prepared if anything kind of did come up. So, I mean, that just has to make you feel that much more free and loose. And what he kind of kept talking about was he told everybody to attack, whether it was the coach or the players, like, we're going to attack. So I guess when you're prepared, when you know you have that you have the preparation, everybody's on the same page, you can play loose and free and actually go and attack and not be on your heels. Because we've mentioned it so many times about, they call a timeout on a third down play. Well, obviously they're calling the timeout because they're going to put 2 plays there, right? If they don't get it on third down. But we saw, numerous times where that wasn't the case, where there didn't seem that there was, sending out Aguayo for that field goal against Wake Forest. There was obviously hesitation on that.
Well, using the timeout to do it. Yeah.
So, it felt like Odell kind of learned from those mistakes. That's a huge thing.
At Birch Orthodontics, they know what a difference a beautiful and healthy smile can make in your life.
They take the time to get to know you and perform a thorough exam so that they can make an individualized treatment plan just for you or your child.
They use the latest technology in a warm and comfortable environment. So whether you are interested in traditional metal or clear braces or clear aligners, they can give you the smile you deserve. They know investing in your smile means investing in your future. And at Birch Orthodontics, they are honored to be a part of your smile journey.
Serving Tallahassee for 16 years and supporting the Noles since forever. Check them out at birchorthodontics.com. BURCH orthodontics.com. And this was a tweet I saw. Somebody, was talking. Everyone's just talking about how much they love Odell. And a lot of the comments were from the clip that we took out when he was asked about Marvin Wilson. I guess apparently Marvin didn't travel with the team and he was waiting for the bus when they got back to town. And I'd play the clip for you right now, folks, but it's a visual thing. You have to kind of just see the way he kind of chokes up almost. But to see him talk about Marvin in that sort of way, because Odell's the one voice that continues to bark out at practice, no matter how loud they're playing music or how whatever way the coaches want to coach and their teaching styles are. Odell's been Odell, will be Odell forever, and it's always hard on those guys. But to hear him kind of be introspective and talk about what a guy like Marvin means to him in the program, it was super cool, because obviously Odell's the ultimate Nole, man.
Yeah, and that's people are obviously it's just really refreshing. It was refreshing when he took it over 2 years ago. This one not so much, because Willie didn't burn bridges when he was here. He just lost games. So it's just again another reminder that through, he's been here since '85, I think, with about a 5 or 6 year gap when he went and played pro football, and he talked about, asked him on, when he knew he wanted to be a coach, and he said it was '87. I remember this. He was a starting linebacker, and they got a couple defensive linemen got hurt, and they moved him to nose tackle. And he was like 230. He's a linebacker. Yeah. And he asked Bowden, I don't know if I'm big enough to do this. I'll do it, but I don't know if I'm big enough. And Bowden said, well, no, I know with your mindset and the way you always want to get to the ball no matter what, you'll find a way to be good as a nose tackle. And then, maybe a year or two later, Bowden told him that he thought he'd be a really good coach because he's so selfless. And he does care about everything else more than himself. And that's a good character trait for a coach. So it's really cool that through the midst of these 3 years of turmoil, there has been that constant. He's the only one, right? Is he the only one that's left from, the championship staff? Yeah. Has to be.
Maybe Mario Edwards.
But Mario's not an assistant, a full-time assistant. So, yeah. He's been on the last 2 national championship teams as a coach. And think of all the turnover from 99 to 2013 till now, and Odell's been through it all. Through it all. So, yeah, he's a rock, man. He's a constant. He's as Florida State can be. And, again, it's why it angers me so much that Deion, who's my all-time favorite football player, is out there campaigning for this job when he's not as Florida State can be.
Has he campaigned, though? Has he?
Yeah, of course. That's where it came from. That's the only way it could have came from. Because he came last night. He was on Sunday night. He was on TV saying, "I've not talked to anyone from Florida State. Let me make this clear. I have not talked to anyone from Florida State." Oh, well, then how did it come out that you were a candidate? Because Florida State's not telling people.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he floated that out to his coworkers, but I haven't heard anything about him tweeting "Hey, Florida State, call me. I want the job."
That's how he did it though, by making
channels,
Rappaport come out and say he's a candidate for the job.
I do it, and I dare you.
As Odell's trying to get them to a bowl game, it's a big time in Florida State right now, and Odell's trying to do his best, and his old roommate trying to No, I'm not trying to steal the limelight. I don't know. Just it really bothered me. And Dion is probably the most important player that's ever played at Florida State for what he did for the brand when he came along right at the start of the dynasty along with Odell. That really bothered me that.
You love Dion. Prime sometimes gets on your nerves.
Sure.
As Mickey would probably say.
Right. But, yeah, so Odell, man, I get it, man. I said it yesterday. It's just I get it's just a big, warm, fuzzy embrace anytime that guy talks about Florida State. Anytime.
The reply I saw to the tweet, and it was somebody, and I read it with tone, was just was like, are we sure he can't be the head coach? And I think that's a legitimate question that needs to be asked now where, can he do it? Are we sure that he cannot do it? I think is like the question you almost have to ask yourself. Because we thought Willie Taggart could do it. We think Bob Stoops can do it. We think so many guys can do it. So that's might not be the greatest qualifier, but it's like, are we sure that we couldn't just go ahead and roll with this guy? I feel that's a question you almost have to start kind of asking yourself.
I think, look, if he beats Florida, again, a big if, almost an impossible if. But if he beats Florida, man, I don't know how you let's say Odell goes to Gainesville and upsets Florida 31-26. They carry him off the field. He gets dumped with Powerade again. He talks about the love for Florida State and all that. And then 2 days later, you go hire the Memphis head coach. How do you sell that? Right. You can't. Yeah. If you're going to do that, stay with the guy that apparently has some magical elixir that gets these guys to play hard and can win games. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to beat Florida. Yeah. But if they do, then man, I know that's not fair. And again, we're speaking like we don't even know if he really truly wants the job. Mm-hmm. There's so much that goes into being a head coach that's more than just rah-rah, fire up the players and fire up the fans. It's a lot of stuff, man. A lot of decisions you have to make about kicking a kid off or just it's a different job. But if he goes and beats Florida, fair or unfair, my man goes to the very top of a short list. Maybe not to the very top, but he's in a short list because it would be the best win Florida State had in, Michigan? Yeah. Maybe.
Absolutely.
Maybe a better win than that because it's on the road. It would be and you don't have Dalvin Cook. It's and I don't know if you remember this, but Michigan didn't have Jabril Peppers in that game.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, he was like a Heisman candidate for them, and he got hurt, I think, in pregame and didn't play. No. So there's always been an asterisk by that win because they didn't have Jabril Peppers. Yeah. Now, you might say Florida State didn't have Derwin James either, but who's Derwin James? Yeah. What's he ever done? Yeah. But, so if you win that game, man, absolutely. And I get it. Like I said yesterday, I don't know that the reason you do it isn't because we could save a lot of money and hire Odell for $2 million. No. You hire him because I think –
he's everything you thought Willie was going to be almost, man.
Absolutely.
Loves the university. He's going to be a great recruiter and then just surround him with really good assistant coaches. Mm-hmm. And he's shown that he'll stay out of their way. I know it's only one game, but I find it hard to imagine at any point Odell would ever overrule his OC on something like formation or personnel.
Our quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, man. Listening to him today, it became on Monday at the press conference, it was a little more – okay, I could see it happening. I could see it getting down the path. Obviously, if you have a chance at Bob Stoops,
go for him. I just think
PJ Fleck even because they've proven it.
Yes,
they've proven it. Odell's never done it. I would say Venables even only because Venables has run a defense. He's gotten complete autonomy at both places he's been and ran it really, really well. So you're getting a great defensive coordinator. This is not a shot at Odell Haggins. But Odell Haggins has been on the staff the last few years. And so if you want a defensive mastermind, Odell's not that guy. You'd have to go hire a defensive mastermind. So if you're looking for a defensive mastermind, would you rather have Odell as your head coach and then go try to, guess if this guy is a really great defensive coordinator, or would you rather go get a great defensive coordinator because there's no guesswork with somebody like Venables? No. But yeah, man. If you get through your first 3 or 4 and it ain't working out, they're saying no or they're asking for way too much money and you just can't afford it and they're being unreasonable, I don't think the Florida State fan base would get upset at all. Plus, Dion could be his defensive coordinator, get his foot in the door, get the band back together. But, yeah, I think it would become much more realistic, in my opinion, again, if Odell wants the job, if he somehow beats Florida. or even keeps it close. Even if they play where you're proud of the way they fought, there's a chance there. If they lose 31-30,
get hosed on a call,
something like that. If they're in it in the fourth quarter, because I don't expect them to be. Yeah. If they're somehow in it in the fourth quarter, man, yeah, something's whatever it is, he's found something. So I don't know. It's certainly not completely out of the realm of possibility.
It's one of the best insurance policies they could have. But also though, I mean, all that said, this is a hot hand at the craps table, and you need to walk away, I think. Just like walk away with all the money, walk away with the 10 Gs. You don't need to let it ride and try to get – because, I would hate to imagine like a 5 – like, I said, like, if you go 8-5, like you're still going to have animus towards, Odell. You're like, dang it, we shouldn't have done this kind of a thing. You're like, wait, hey, what if they went 5-7, which is it happened last year, so it could happen to anybody. And you would just hate for that to tarnish all the greatness that he's kind of done. You just kind of hope that it would, Bob, come here, man. You're probably going to get paid $8 million. Like, would you be fine with $8 million a year for Bob, or would you be like, good grief, what have we done?
No, man, I'd get it. I mean, again, they're paying $17 or $18 million for a guy not to coach them. So at this point, you're just throwing money at it anyway.
Well,
what's another
$5
few million
annually? Was it like a 60% increase?
What do you mean? Oh, you mean going from Willie to Bob?
Yeah, going from 5 to 8.
I think only for Bob would I do that. Because, again, I think he's the closest thing to a sure thing that you got. Right. I think when you get Bob Stoops as your head coach, you get to very quickly you're getting to 8 or 9 wins again. I don't know if he's going to get you to a championship, but I think you're getting 8 or 9 wins again. Everybody else is a guess. Even Fleck, even Venables, even Odell, even T-Buck.
Last thing I want to mention, and this was another thing that people want us to talk more about and thought we didn't give proper credence to it, or maybe we didn't do a mea culpa on it, which I guess I will. The whole Jordan Travis thing, obviously, because so many people are like, why not? And why not? Like, can you ask Willie why they haven't started Jordan Travis, or ask him this? We want to know, like, why not use a guy who's a true dual threat? Because in an offense that calls for run pass option stuff, RPO stuff, read option stuff. And it was just, hey, man, it's with all the struggles that this team is undergoing, it doesn't seem like the third-string quarterback is – like, would he not be exhausting every option, it seems like?
Right.
Because, again, Willie did not seem like a risk-averse coach. Like, it seemed like he would do things to try to give a team a shot in the arm, except maybe, put James Blackman in a quarterback last year over DeAndre Francois, but that's neither here nor there. So a lot of people are like, man, way to blow it on that, or how come you didn't see that? And this kind of goes back to asking Odell the question about the changes you made, and you hope that that's actually, he heard that question correctly, and when he gave us his answer, that was actually something that had changed, something they weren't doing that he wanted to instill. Because, man, this is, and I'm going to play this right now, Corey, Willie Taggart was asked after the Wake Forest game, he was asked about whether or not, he was involved with the play calling against Wake Forest, and this is what he said.
Well, I probably should have asked this on Saturday. Were you involved with the play calling on offense? And if so, is that different than, I guess, what the role has been previously this season?
No, it hadn't been different than any other thing I've done all year long. I'm always involved on both sides of the ball. Thought Kendall called a good game.
Now, this comes in light of what Gene put in his 5 takes column about, Willie meddling. And again, man, like, all right, I missed it on Jordan Travis. I buried James Blackman prematurely, thought that he probably wasn't going to play again after Alex Hornibrook did well against Syracuse. I'll admit when I'm wrong on these things, I'm not bothered by it. But a lot of it comes from the fact, like, I'm gonna trust this guy. When he's asked, hey, man, like, did you change anything in terms of play calling or anything? Like, no, man, I haven't changed anything. And then Gene hears that this has been going on for weeks now, where personnel is getting overruled. Formations are getting overruled, things of that. So,
why? Why would he do that?
You talk about self-preservation.
But it's.
So my thing is, we're supposed to. Why don't you follow up and be like, well, we've heard, sources have told us that we've heard that you've been meddling, Willie, and then this becomes like a court scene from L.A. Law or something like that, which is not how these press conferences work. We ask him, how's Jordan Travis looking in practice? Yeah, he's doing good, man. He's progressing along. He gives us a good-looking scout team. So you trust the fact that, like, he's seeing what he's seeing, and he trusts that, and he's not going to put a kid in there that he doesn't. So I would assume that he doesn't think the kid's ready, because I'm going to trust what the coach is telling me, and we trust that the coach is. Well, no, I'm not. We haven't changed anything. It's been the same way the whole season, and when these things, there's discrepancies in that. That's what leads to misinformation. Then people start you guys don't know what the hell you're talking about. It's like, well, man, so what? I'm going to call him a liar, and then what do you guys say about us? 3 weeks ago, if we come on the show and say Willie Taggart's a liar, what kind of blowback do we get from that?
Probably severe.
Yeah.
Mainly from Willie and the people at Florida State, but yeah, probably severe. I will say on the Jordan Travis thing, we might want to slow down a little bit. Nobody's been vindicated, and nobody's been made to look a fool because of 2 runs. What I mean by that is nobody on this show and nothing I've ever written has said anything about – I mean, we all understand they needed a running threat at quarterback. Mm-hmm. Well, we can't call Jordan Travis a dual threat yet because he's only done one of the things. He's done it. He did it really, really well. And when you watch that, you're like, okay, why wasn't that part of – why didn't you have a wild Trav package – that you could throw in there? Why didn't you do that? Why would you rather go to the running back? Why wouldn't you have Travis and Akers in there at the same time? Looking at that now, right. You're like, man, you couldn't have done that 8 times a game? I get that. But the question about should Jordan Travis be the starting quarterback, I don't know that anything was answered because of those 2 runs. You know what I mean? I think those are different conversations. I think Willie mistakenly didn't use I mean, again, it can't be a coincidence that the first game that Taggart's not around, Jordan Travis plays. It's just not a coincidence.
Yeah.
It's not like Kendall Briles when he found out that Taggart had been fired to be like, you know what? Now that we're doing crazy stuff anyway, Jordan, come here. I got an idea. Let's play you. I'm just spitballing here. That can't have been how. I mean, I'm sure Briles suggested it. Had a package that he wanted to run, and apparently was overruled because again, it doesn't make sense otherwise. What about that game was any different than the Syracuse game or the Wake game or the Clemson game? Anything. Virginia. Same with the Wild Cam. Virginia. I mean, you could have used something like that, even on the goal line. But that doesn't mean that Jordan Travis should be the starting quarterback. So I don't know that we ever said when people asked us why not give Jordan Travis a try, I think, at least when I answered it, it was in the context of, man, he's your third-string quarterback. No. For a reason.
And he did not get a lot of burn
but when
on the Louisville team last year.
There
did not have
good.
A lot of good quarterbacks.
So when I hear give somebody a try, I'm thinking you mean have him start the game and play the quarterback position. Not like a wing T, I'm going to take a snap and run, but actually a quarterback position. That stuff that he did on Saturday, yeah, they should have obviously had that somewhere throughout the year, sprinkled that in somewhere. Because Akers is beat up. He's not fully healthy. He's still a great running back. But imagine both of those guys together for 8 or 10 snaps a game. Instead of having to go to the Wild Cam, which we liked, but that's a lot of wear and tear on Cam Akers. To have both those guys back there, I think that was that's something they can try against Florida and see how it works. I think Alabama State's going to have a problem with it. Mm-hmm. I do. I'm going to go ahead and predict it. I don't think they're going to do well. Yeah, Wild Trav is going to run wild on the Hornets.
All right, man, that's all I got. Shout out to your better half, Stephanie, for hanging in here during the entire show. So I
read a magazine.
You want to give her a shout out for belated birthday? You already gave her a belated birthday shout out, but since she's here, or?
Did I? I couldn't remember if I said happy birthday
you sang.
to her.
I thought you sang, didn't you?
Oh, that's right. You don't remember me singing to you? See? Oh, and she was like, "Oh, you didn't give me a shout out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I forgot that I sang."
She's been a really good trooper while we've been recording this. I assigned her a duty. I think I might get a cat, Corey.
I know. I heard y'all talk before the show. That was
You don't really endorse this idea.
I mean, as a single dude, I get it. I think it'd be cooler if you had a dog,
dogs are too needy.
I know. You want a cat that just runs away from you when you walks in and does not like you at all. That's the best thing about cats is they want their own space.
Yeah, man.
They'd rather you just bounce.
Yeah, just go hang out.
What are you doing in my house, old man? It's my house. Cat. Yeah, I'm not a huge cat person. But I'm not a huge pet person.
Yeah, either am I. I think maybe it's like a good kind of dip my toe in the pool kind of thing.
Is it like I don't want to say bait.
No, I'm not trying to market myself in, but I think I need like a little buddy, kind of, like a little buddy to hang around.
You got a name picked out?
I was gonna maybe call him Sketchy because it'd be like Sketch, call him Sketch or something. Because cats are it's a little weird. Single.
But
guy
you're gonna
with a cat.
tell that's so you're gonna have a date over here,
right? That's sketch.
And you're going to say that's sketchy?
Well, yeah.
I don't know if she's going to want to hear that name. You got to come up with a cuter name than sketchy.
All right. Well, I don't want to give him a human name.
Like Bill?
Yeah, like Todd or something. Todd the cat.
Todd is a great name. That's exactly what you should name it. Todd, or like Beth, if it's a girl cat. Although didn't Stephanie say not to get a female cat because they're mean?
Male.
Not like male cats that are great.
Yeah.
It's always odd for me to even think of cats as males.
Yeah.
I just always assume they're females. Yeah. They act like, I'm not going to finish that sentence. Cats are great, they're wonderful, and so are females.
Maybe I should give him some sort of like Lion King name, since my name's Zazon means lion. Like maybe I'll call him Simba or something. Like, because isn't Simba's the baby lion, right?
I think that grows up to be the Matthew Broderick.
Yeah.
By the way, a little trivia about Matthew Broderick.
Proceed.
He killed 2 people in Ireland in the 1980s.
Okay. Is that like real?
Yeah, he was dating Jennifer Grey, who played his sister in Ferris Bueller's Day Off from Dirty Dancing.
Okay. Baby.
They were dating. They were on vacation in Ireland. He was driving on the wrong lane in Ireland, ran into a mom and a daughter and killed them.
Well, if it was America, he'd be on the right side, so maybe it was their fault.
Probably not. But also, the fine was $100 or $500. He didn't spend a day in jail, and I don't think he was drunk. He was just driving on the wrong side of the road. That's a bummer. It's not a great way to end the show, but it's a little trivia. It's probably better than talking about a cat. Meow. Oh, no, don't.
Don't do that. No. It's like
that's better, yeah.
Speaking of, by the way, we'll go on something somewhat funny. The great thing about being in Gainesville was seeing them lose and watching everybody file out of the arena with like 4 minutes left. They're so obnoxious. They're a PA guy. I mean, they're Florida. It's in their DNA.
Right, that's what they try to do. They own it. Almost.
So they'll be like, Thompson, most gyms would probably be like, man for 3, or who was it? Savoy or somebody had a
3J.
Yeah, like
4-3, that thing, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I'm trying to think of somebody else. Somebody had a name that they would say a 3 instead of their last name or vice versa.
Well, it was 3J. They'd say 3J, yeah, instead of PJ.
Well, they're just like, Simpson for 3. It was just the most high-pitched, lunatic, crazy screech of a call from a PA guy. And then like I was in the bathroom washing my hands, and the women played after the men, and then they've got the PA sound piped into the bathroom.
Oh,
and
so you hear that?
And it's dead quiet. And she's like, Jennings for 3. Like, this place is the worst.
You should sign us off as Orgeron. By the way, thinking about Odell, the people that he keeps getting compared to
D-line coaches,
D-line coach. Never was a coordinator.
Never.
And look what he's doing now. Number 1 team in America.
Interim. You think they want me back in Los Angeles? You like Clay Helton? You like Clay Helton? I don't like Clay Helton. I like being in Baton Rouge. You ain't coming in here, Jimbo. It's my job. 1 team, 1 heartbeat.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Jimbo hadn't been real happy about how this season's played out.
All right, man. Go have fun with your lady. Happy birthday, belated Stephanie. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's.
If you want an adventure, you could climb a mountain or ride dune buggies through the desert. Or you could just head to your neighborhood Zaxby's. Introducing the Smokehouse Cheddar Barbecue and Southwest Chipotle Filet Sandwich Meals. They're brand new, and they'll take your taste buds to wild and exciting new places. Both feature our famous hand-breaded chicken, and they're both available for a limited time. Only at your neighborhood Zaxby's. And don't miss Jumanji: The Next Level, only in theaters.